Hey, what's going on, movie lovers all over the world? You already know who it is. It's your favorite internet sweaty, your boy Mikey Savage 21, bringing you another video. And today we're actually going to be looking at my top 10 list for January to mid-July. Now, with the release of a couple of films we have coming out tomorrow, along with War of the Planet of the Apes and Wish Upon and a couple of other films that I'm going to get a chance to check out, I decided to just go ahead and list off my top 10 list. Basically just movies that I have really enjoyed and that have really entertained me this year and that I've been thoroughly impressed with. And so right away, I'm going to go ahead and premise this by saying that, again, this is my own personal list, and I'm not saying which film was better than any other film. I'm basically just saying this is just my own personal list of films that really stuck out to me and that I really enjoyed my theater experience along with. Alright, so we're going to start right at number 10 with the Power Rangers remake that we had. Now, I've heard a lot of people, you know, the hype was real when we went and saw it in theaters. Everyone thought it was great, but now that it's came out and people had time to rewatch it, a lot of people are kind of poo-pooing on it now. I actually got a chance to rewatch it, and while I did not love it as much as I did the first time I saw it, I still thought it was really enjoyable, and I really do hope we get a Power Rangers sequel. I really like the aspect of them going a different route. I mean, they could have gone the whole cheesy, campy route. That would have been cool, but I like how they took a more serious, dark approach to it, because again, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of edge in a film, but you still want to have some fun, and there's definitely some fun moments in there. And speaking of getting dark, my number 10 pick is going to be It Comes at Night. Now, of course, misleading trailer aside, I really did enjoy It Comes at Night. It was a different type of horror film, kind of similar again to Don't Breathe, and in a way Lights Out as well, where it didn't stick to the normal horror tropes. It kind of took it in a different direction, and I actually did not mind that. I thought that was one of the coolest things about It Comes at Night. It could have honestly been a monster movie, but instead it talked about the horrors of what people can do to each other when they're in these cramped situations and there seems like there's no way out. Alright, so my number 8 pick is one that I had to really wrestle with, because there was another film that I really wanted to put in its place, but ultimately I said that I enjoyed it more. So my number 8 pick is going to be John Wick Chapter 2. Now, I caught John Wick in theaters with my buddy Paul when it came out back in 2014, and I absolutely flipped my lid over it. 2014, 2015, around that year somewhere, I flipped my lid over it, and I thought it was a fantastic movie. And John Wick Chapter 2 was just even better in my opinion. I mean, granted it didn't exceed my expectations like I had with the first one, but I still had so much fun with this one and getting to know more about John Wick and the lore that's set up around the Continental. And I can't wait to see where they go with Chapter 3 with the ultimate conclusion of Chapter 2. And I can't wait to see when we get that TV series spinoff about the Continental. I think that's going to be really awesome. Maybe we'll get to see the origin and how it got set up, and they've even confirmed that John Wick might pop through a couple of times. So it would be good to see Keanu Reeves again. Alright, so for my number 7 pick, it's going to be a film that a lot of people probably have not seen, but it did pretty decent in the box office. It didn't do like gangbusters numbers, but I believe it made its money back, and it's the movie Sleight, or Sleight, depending on how you want to say it. I've heard people say Sleight and I've heard people say Sleight, and this is again a film that starred Jacob Latimore, and I've seen Jacob Latimore in a number of films including Collateral Beauty, and he's even got another film that's coming up this year. He's actually in the Detroit movie, and he's actually, I think, got another movie he's going to be in this year. So Jacob Latimore is really stepping up his acting game here, and what I really liked about this film was it was a superhero film in a way, but it just talked about a kid who was just basically trying to make it out of the hood, was trying to provide for his family and doing everything that he could, kind of similar to Baby Driver, to where again he wasn't in this life because he wanted to be. He was in it because of circumstances that kind of put him there. And what I really liked about Sleight was I liked his interactions with the different characters, whether it be his potential love interest or whether it be with his little sister or even with the next door neighbor or even with the man who really scared the mess out of me, our main antagonist. I still thought, you know, the film was overall good, and I wish it would have did a little bit better in the box office, but like I said, I think it made its money back. Alright, so for my next pick, we're gonna go with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. While I certainly did not enjoy this as much as I did the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I still thought Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did a lot more than the first one did. Like, it brought in a lot more jokes, and I know, you know, people were like, well, you get a joke, and you get a joke, and you get a joke. Well, at least when those jokes landed, a lot of them landed. The only joke I didn't like was poop jokes, and I'm probably never gonna really get into poop jokes again. But no, what I really liked about Guardians Guardians of the Galaxy at its core is, first of all, you know, we got good character interaction between, you know, Peter Quill and his dad of Ego the Living Planet. We got the new additions of Kurt Russell and Plummentine, and it was good to just see everybody interacting with each other. And ultimately, I did enjoy some of the action scenes in there as well. They really stepped it up with some of the action scenes. Now, I would have liked to see Dave Bautista's character of Drax do a little bit more, but seeing his interactions with Groot and with Rocket and how they ultimately just kind of laugh with each other, I thought was really awesome. And then, hey, hashtag Baby Groot, man. I mean, hashtag Baby Groot. Baby Groot was like so awesome in this film. From the moments that they had that opening sequence, I knew right then and there that I was going to fall in love with Baby Groot, and I can definitely not wait to see Baby Groot again make his appearance in either Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 or the different Avengers movies that we're getting. Alright, so now we're entering the top 5 list. And again, this is not a list of saying that films I think that are better than anything. These are just films that I again thought that really entertained me and really brought the best out in me. Alright, so for number 5, I'm gonna go with the movie Everything, Everything. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, Everything. I don't think I've heard of that. Well, again, this is another little low budget film that came out kind of around the time of Sleight, and to me, I really liked Everything because at the core of it, while it is a love story, there's a little bit more to it. And like I did in my review, in which I'll make sure I list all of these movies that I reviewed down in the comment section below. But what I really liked was, again, the leads between Amanda Stenberg and Nick Robinson. Their chemistry on screen felt so realistic and so real. And it's hard to get that nowadays with certain films. I mean, you have films that have come out like Wonder Woman and everything where you have Chris Pine and Wonder Woman, but this was just kind of different. Again, these are two unknowns. I haven't seen much of Amanda Stenberg, but I have seen a little bit of Nick Robinson. But I really thought that Nick was able to bring out a really performing performance. And plus, some might say I'm a little bit biased because I'm cool with the whole interracial thing. What I really liked was Stella McGee's directing and how she ultimately was able to get this relationship out of these two characters. Alright, so getting down to the bare bone of the last bit of this list, and again, what I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and do my honorable mentions here because a lot of people are probably wondering what's going to be the top 4. Okay. So coming in at my first honorable mention, I'm going to have the Wonder Woman movie. Now, a lot of you probably going to kick me in the butt and say, what? Why is Wonder Woman not in there? Look, I thoroughly enjoyed Wonder Woman and I thoroughly enjoyed my experience. I had no doubt in my mind that Wonder Woman was going to come out and buzz. But ultimately, I just got a little bit more entertainment out of some of the movies that I've listed so far. Alright, so my next pick is gonna be the Lego Batman movie. Now, this movie, I actually had it on my list. But I replaced it with John Wick Chapter 2 simply because I didn't get a chance to check this out in theaters. I actually watched this due to a private screener. So ultimately, I don't really count that as a theater experience. The next one I would have is Before I Fall, similar to Everything, and to Sleight. It had that independent budget feel with Zoe Dutch and everything and the different characters and whatnot. But what I really liked about Before I Fall at its core was it was a story about interpersonal relationships and how we perceive ourselves and how we fit into this world, and if that we were to die today, what would people say about us? What kind of reputation would we be leaving behind? Alright, next would be Fate of the Furious. I don't have to really talk much about that. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the Fast and the Furious franchise, and I did get some entertainment out of it, but not as much as I did as Furious 7. And that's nothing again against the direction or anything. I'm not saying that it was because of the directing that I didn't enjoy it. It was just I enjoyed the Furious 7 storyline a little bit more than this one. Alright, getting back to the main list. Number 4, we have Spider-Man Homecoming. What I really liked about Spider-Man Homecoming ultimately was how Tom Holland was able to embody the awkwardness of a teenager. You're going to keep hearing me say that because no offense to Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, I never felt like they were those awkward teens. They always felt like there was those older guys who act like they have problems with women or they're awkward in teenage years or in high school, I should say, but they're not. They have swagger and charisma to them, and I'm not saying that Tom Holland doesn't, but the way he portrayed the character of Peter Parker felt like we ripped him straight out of the comic book, and that's what I ultimately like to see with someone of my comic book heroes. I don't mind when they take liberties with the characters and when they do certain things and change things up, but I ultimately want to see my comic book characters come to life, and I thought that John Watts was able to do that with Spider-Man Homecoming. Alright, getting to the last three. Number 3, we're gonna have Get Out. I don't really have to speak much on Get Out because Get Out can speak for itself. This movie did gangbusters in the theaters. There's even Oscar buzz going around for the director Jordan Peele. I thought Daniel Kaluuya and Allison Williams did a fantastic job. You want to talk about more on-screen chemistry? Those two definitely have it. I thought those two were able to embody what it's like to be in an interracial relationship in today's time. But I also felt like they took that to a new plateau, and Jordan Peele really did address some issues that might be still going on in our current society today. So a film that has a message to it as well as also is a plus in my book. Alright, number 2, to be no surprise, I think I've actually spoiled what number 2 is going to be. It is Baby Driver. Baby Driver to me was one of Edgar Wright's best films, and I've loved all of his films, especially Shaun of the Dead and most definitely Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I still watch Scott Pilgrim vs. the World constantly because I love that movie and I wish we could have gotten a sequel, but I understand that they took all of the comic book basically and shoved it into one movie, and it worked. Baby Driver not only is a completely original thought up idea by Edgar Wright that took a time to work on, because you could tell that he thought about every single little detail in this movie, and it was damn near a flawless movie. And what I really liked about Baby Driver was, again, Ansel Elgort and Lily James's on-screen chemistry. You're seeing a repeating pattern here. I love on-screen chemistry when it comes to lead characters, whether it be lead females and lead males, and their chemistry together. If your movie has no chemistry, then it's already gonna kind of take me out of the film a little bit, because we get so many movies where they try to play up like there's this couple, but they're not really a couple at the end of the day. And Baby Driver felt like not only was it, again, an action adventure movie, but it had drama in it, it had romance in it, and it was a love story at the end of the day of Baby's character and how he was willing to do anything for Lily James's character, and how he wanted to give up this life ultimately that he was unfortunately brought into, kind of similar with the Sleight movie, same thing. This character wanted to make it out and was willing to do whatever it took to ultimately get out of that life. Alright, and so for my number 1 pick, to no one's surprise, it's the movie Logan. I have rewatched Logan a couple of times now, and I still say it's the best X-Men film I have ever seen. I can speak literally all day about Logan. Logan was such a fantastic film, and I thought that the director was able to do such a fantastic job with Logan. Again, this is supposed to be Hugh Jackman's last run as Logan. So ultimately, when we saw the film, we were thinking to ourselves, okay, what's Hugh Jackman gonna be like in this role? What's Patrick Stewart gonna be like in this role? And I can honestly say that James Mangold was able to get the perfect performance out of Hugh Jackman, out of Patrick Stewart, out of Boyd Holbrook, out of Stephen Merchant, out of Richard E. Grant, out of Daphne Keane. Little murder girl Daphne Keane is one of the reasons that this is number 1 on my list, because not only was she able to go 0 to 100 real quick because of her character, but also because of how her chemistry with Hugh Jackman and how her chemistry with Patrick Stewart played out on screen. And James Mangold was basically able to craft not only this X-Men story, and we know that Wolverine has had its ups and downs, but this basically almost seems like it sets up a reboot and a potentially a different continuity to the previous films. And I like how this film can kind of stand on its own, and I think that was one of the pressures of the previous Wolverine films. But James Mangold, thank you so much for this movie. And Fox, thank you so much for having the guts to put out this movie. Not only was it all about Logan, not only did you title it Logan instead of titling it Wolverine, but you also made it rated R, and you showed that yes, rated R comic books can work with certain characters, and as long as you tell the story in the way it's supposed to be told, get great performances and have great on-screen chemistry, have a great plot, have really engaging dialogue, and throw in some really kick-ass action scenes, then your movie will do well. Deadpool proved that last year, and Logan did that this year. So guys, that has been my list of the top films so far from January to mid-July. Again, let me know down in the comment section below, what is your top 10 list? What films do you think that you would put at number 1, number 2, all the way to 10? Make sure you list your list down. If you want to list your top 20, go right ahead. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was a little bit extensive, but I thank you guys for rocking it with me. And yes, I remember I did mention on social media that I was going to be making an announcement. Okay, so now that most of my gaming equipment is back in, we are going to be starting up the game playthroughs again, thank goodness. And I'm going to be rocking with some new games. We're going to be playing some things. I'm not going to really spoil what games we're going to be playing, but we're going to be playing more video games. And also, I have this Patreon account if you guys don't know, so I'm going to start using it a little bit more effectively. So guys, please make sure you go follow me on Patreon. Sign up to where maybe you can give $1 one time. Hey, maybe you want to give $1 monthly, or maybe you want to give $5 monthly. But what I am guaranteeing is, at the end of the month, when we get to the end of this month, I'm going to be doing a huge giveaway. I'm going to be giving away some digital download codes for movies that you guys want to see. But there's a catch to this. The catch is, not only do you have to be following me on my YouTube channel, of course, youtube.com/MikeySavage21, but you also have to sign up with Patreon or make a small donation, basically. And I'm not going to be greedy here, guys. I'm not. If you can donate $1, donate $1. If you can only donate 50 cents, donate 50 cents. If you can only donate a penny, hey, that still puts you in the running. And basically what I'm going to do at the end of the month, I'm going to be keeping tabs on who subscribed to the channel and followed me on Patreon and made a donation. I'm going to be keeping a list of that, and I'm going to pick the top 10 winners from this channel. I know it's a lot of you guys, but I'm going to pick the top 10 winners, maybe top 20 depending on how much reception this gets. And I'm going to be giving away some digital download codes. Again, if you want the Lego Batman movie, we're going to be giving away Lego Batman. We're going to be giving away Logan, Get Out. All of these great films that I listed on my list, or great films that I might not have listed that you would put on your list, they're going to be in the running. And if I don't have that digital code, well, I'll make sure I go to the store and get my hands on it just for you guys. This is, again, my way of saying thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, and it also gives us something fun to do as well. So again, thank you so much for watching this video, and as I always say, remember to become a savage, stay a savage, and peace out, y'all.